Hey everybody, this is Brian Koo with another ROK video, bringing you Week 5 Osiris League action and the bets that go along with it. Before we get to our picks, let's go ahead and do a bonus crafting session for everybody. I really appreciate all the support on these Osiris League videos, and I only have one Horn of Fury right now. It's a critted cavalry horn, and it's about time I built my 10th legendary accessory. Let's go ahead and build that Horn of Fury right now. 50 million gold, 120 materials, one time. Dang it, dang it, dang it. All right, well, that is going to go on one of my infantry marches, and very happy to have another Horn of Fury. You can see that on my second infantry set here, I have been rocking the purple Silent Trial for quite a long time. Let's throw the horn here on, well, Zenobia's out chaining barbs right now, so we'll do that later. Let's get to the betting. Okay, so we had another good week in week number 4. It was rough at the start, considering we bet on 60 GT in the realm of Horus, but we hit a lot of our other bets. We hit a nice underdog bet on OWR. We hit a nice underdog bet on 3310 and on INM. Did lose our one bet in Bastet, but it was another very solid week. We made about 7 or 8,000 Aurics on our bankroll last week. And let's go ahead and get to the week 5 action here. We are going to start things off in the realm of Horus. This is a match that's going to be broadcast by Dirty Dan early on in the day at 13 UTC. We're going to bet on Alt from 1875 to beat 60 MX. Now, I do think 60 MX is going to be a strong team this year. I would imagine they have practiced more this week after their big brother got knocked out. This essentially represents a nice opportunity for 60 MX, and they might get a little bit of help from 60 GT. So, but the thing is, the odds are just crazy. Alt is a really big underdog here. This is 1875's main team. They have played well. They've looked good this season. They did beat SN41 in a match that we casted on the official channel a few weeks ago. They went 3-0, or they went undefeated in their group and won again last week against 1486. I just think at these odds, Alt is a pretty good play. Not the best bet of the week, but I like a bet of 15% of our bankroll on Alt here. That's going to be 3,000 Aurics on Alt here if we give ourselves a 20K bankroll. We're going to have to go a little bit under 3K for this bet, but yeah, we're going to go with Alt here. We're going to be betting on a bunch of underdogs this week. For some reason, the betting this week seems a little bit better than last week. There's a lot of really juicy underdogs to bet on, and we're just going to put small bets on a bunch of them and hope one or two hit, and we'll be in good shape. Another juicy underdog here is going to be OWR. They are massive, massive underdogs against GV77. 2377 has got to be another major team that is licking their chops after 60 GT crashed out last week. And you've got leader Shark Premium, an interesting name here for GV77, considering Shark did make a retirement announcement a couple months ago. But 2638 here, they have played well. They pulled the upset against WIB last week as much slighter underdogs. They are a huge, huge underdog this week. So we are going to go ahead and bet 5% of our bankroll on OWR for the long shot upset of GV77. We are going to end up putting bets on all 4 matches in Horus. One of the matches I will be casting at 15 UTC is going to be 3379 against 3174. 2 younger kingdoms here making deep runs in the Osiris League. 3379 was, of course, the team to pull the upset on GT last week. They did it with a obelisk capture early in the match. They teleported all their cities to that obelisk and had 3 obelisks for the whole match. If you do that early in the match, you have a very good chance against anybody, including GT. I was expecting to bet on 3174 in this match. thinking that they might be like a very big underdog. In all honesty, neither of these teams has had amazing performances here. I think that 3379's play last week was obviously very impressive. And when I look at 3174's matches, the 9K win against 1824 is meh. It's fine, but it's not like an elite performance. And then last week they won by 8,000 against 875A. They've had some good wins here to make it this far, but at these odds, at the odds where like at 379 is about a 55 to 57% favorite. I do think we put a bet here on 3379. Let's bet about 10% of our bankroll on 3379 here, thinking that they are just probably the better team based on the fact that they pulled the upset of the century last week. Similar logic here with 75 DC over E68. We are going to put 20% of our bankroll on 75 DC here. That's going to be about 4,000 Aurics for myself. And, you know, you look at this match here and you say to yourself, well, 75 DC, they have certainly had some impressive wins. They beat WIB, and then last week they beat AO77 by a pretty convincing number here, 9,000 points. 75, and they've also won Osiris League in the past. You can see that from their banner here. So 75 DC has played well and has a great resume. E68, on the other hand, certainly a team that's played and done decently in Osiris League in the past, but their road to the quarterfinals here has been quite easy. They have actually played Mimi twice. They played Mimi in pool play, and then they played Mimi again last week in the round of 16. And all in all, especially when you go back and look at their entire schedule this season, which I did do before this video, it's just been a pretty easy road for E68. And I think that 75 DC is a bigger favorite than this. I just think they're a much bigger favorite than the bettors have put them as so far. So we've got bets on all 4 matches in the realm of Horus. Let's go ahead and do Anubis. And in Anubis, we're getting back to those upset specials. We're getting back to those juicy underdogs this week in the Osiris League. The first one being SV92 against DQ39. SV92 is in KVK right now. They had their first day of fighting today. They have looked good so far in that KVK, and they are just a huge, huge underdog to DQ39. Now, DQ39 did pull the big upset last week against IN. That also involved an obelisk capture. That also involved a very early game obelisk capture by DQ39. They have actually played very well. I'm going to make a slight adjustment on the fly and like change the size of this bet because I did forget that DQ39 played a very close match versus 93T. SV92 has had a somewhat easy road to this point with the match against MCM last week. So let me just dial this one down a little bit. Let's bet 10% on SV92. They are a very good team. SV92 has played very well, have a lot of talent on this team. And at these odds, I do like a bet on SV92 here. Let's go ahead and bet 10% of our bankroll on SV92. Let me quit. Okay, I'll change it later. I unplugged my keyboard for this video. The next bet here is going to be on 3310. This, to me, looks like a really good bet. And I'm going to be honest, I expected to bet the other way on this match. I'm going to give you a little bit of analysis of this match. I think it's one of the more exciting ones of the week. These two teams did play each other a couple of weeks ago, and 1188 won by about 10K. But 3310 really screwed up one of their mid-fights by not casting any skills. The thing about this match, and I'm basically going to give reasons why I think 1188 is going to win, and then I'm going to throw a bet on 3310, but bear with me, I guess. So last week, 3310 had some mid-fights that I thought they were going to win, but LX17 managed to win those mid-fights. In the first match against 1188, the Korean team here, Lively, they went with a side strategy. They didn't really compete for a lot of the mid-fights. So what I'm thinking here is that in 1188, you have a very experienced, high-end Osiris League team. They have fought many, many middle fights against some of the best teams in the world, including 93T and JST. So their players are very, very skilled at mid fights in Ark of Osiris. And I don't, as much as 3310 has had like a very good performance this season, I'm not sure they've proven to be an elite mid fighting team. So if I were 1188, I would really change my strategy up and I would bank my entire season on the idea that we can beat 3310 in the middle. If they have not proven that they are able to beat a great team, then just fight them in the mid. I mean, it's until their players have shown the skill level, the micromanagement to be an elite mid fighting team, I think you just have to test them at this point. So that's the game plan for 1188 here. But, 3310 has played well. They stole an arc with Master Strategy against 1188 last time they played. So at these odds, again, it's just at these odds, 3310 looks really, really juicy here. I'm going to go ahead and put 15% of my bankroll on 3310. I feel like I'm running out of Aurics, and yet I know I have enough, so we'll play this thing by ear here. But yeah, we are going with 3310, and if they hit, that's going to be a hell of a jackpot that we get. That's going to be it in the realm of Anubis. I feel like JST and 93T are justifiable big favorites here. So let's go to the realm of Bastet for more of our betting here. We're going to go ahead and put 5% here on 1718. Again, they are just a big underdog here against 489. 489, I did an interview with Ava on my channel a few days ago, and it was a great interview. I encourage you all to watch it. I will link it down in the description. But one thing Ava said was that they need to practice more. And I just think it's possible that they are maybe looking past this match a little bit. And 1718 is a very, very good team with the ability to surprise opponents with things like no mark, Master Strategy, and Inferno, and the ability to have different strategies for winning. I do think that a team like 1718 is very dangerous in this spot. And when you make them about a 3-1 underdog here, I do like a bet on 1718 to pull the upset. Kind of a similar logic here with FCK. We're going to go ahead and bet 5% of our bankroll on FCK. And you know what? The thought here is just that we really don't know if FCK is a great team or not. They have won very solidly against all of their opponents, and they have some decent opposition here with Bad Bunny and MCM. Nothing crazy, but there's no proof from the scoring that FCK is not a really good team. Now, 748, they might be the favorites to win the Realm of Bastet. 748 is a very strong kingdom, and they also, are former Osiris League champions. They did lose a KVK very recently, but it was kind of a not super tough Kingsland effort from 748, so maybe they're actually focused on the Osiris League. In any event, we are just going to bet on another really big underdog here in FCK. We've got a little bit of extra money left here because we changed our sizing on SV92. I'm going to go ahead and put 10K or 10%. I'm sorry, 5%. I'm going to put 5% or 1K Aurics on 65 AC. Similar logic here. 16OT is a very accomplished team in Osiris League, but 65 AC, other than the 489 match, they have looked pretty good. I like the FCK bet more simply because when you look at the 489 versus 65 AC match where 489 blew these guys out, that sort of puts a ceiling on how good 65 AC is. But at these odds, I do still like a 5% bet on 65 AC. But that's kind of why I like FCK more, right? There's no ceiling. There's no ceiling on how good FCK is here because they haven't had any loss or any result that limits them. So we've got 10% of our bankroll left, and we're going to go ahead and go into Sobek for our last bet. We're doing this one a little bit blind. Don't know much about either of these teams, but when I spoke with Spooks from Sobek, he didn't mention 35-35, or did he? I think the two top teams here are, I believe it's 35-60, and then maybe this is the team he likes. You know what? They changed their leader. Their leader was Thomas Shelby a few weeks ago, so I kind of got confused about which team this was. We've got 10% of our bankroll left to bet here. Um, you know what? Let's go ahead and do a bridge jumper. Let's switch this one up entirely. I do believe 35-35 is one of the two favorites in Sobek. They are big favorites here, but it was so fun to do a bridge jumper on 60 GT last week and get the angry comments from people early in the day being like, the one time I followed you, this is what happened. We're going to go for it again. Let's bet our remaining bankroll here on 35-35. It's going to be a crappy return if and when we win. But if we lose, you get to rage at me in the comments for betting on the Sexy Titans right before they lost to a volcano. So we are going to go ahead and do that final bet on 35-35. Those are all the bets for this week. And let's go straight into the betting summary for those of you who like to fast forward to this point. In the realm of Horus, we are betting on Alt over 60 MX for 15% of our bankroll. We're betting on OWR to upset GV77 for 5% of our bankroll. We're betting on 33.79 to beat 31.74 for 10%. And we're betting on 75 DC to beat E68 for 20% of our bankroll. Those are the bets in the realm of Horus. In the realm of Anubis, we are betting 10% of our bankroll on SV92 to beat DQ39. And we are betting 15% on 3310 to get the dub against 1188. In the realm of Bastet, we are betting on 65 AC to beat 16OT for 10% of our bankroll. We're betting on 1718 to beat 489 for 5% of our bankroll. 65 AC is also for 5% of our bankroll. And we are betting on FCK to beat 748 for 5% of our bankroll. And then with everything we have left over, we are pushing it in on 35-35 to beat FNV for 10% of our roll. Thank you all for watching. Throw a like on the video, subscribe to my channel, and best of luck in all your action.